This is the Sikorsky S-97 Raider, a next-generation prototype helicopter designed specifically for the U.S. Army.
They just unleashed the most powerful helicopter the world has ever seen. And it's not sci-fi, it's real. With the muscle to lift tanks, fly through minefields, and land where jets can't.
We don't need that runway to land on, and we don't need any type of air traffic control agency to get us there. We can do it ourselves.
The King Stallion isn't just a chopper, it's a game changer, and it's only the beginning. Because once you see what the Apache's helmet can do, or how a little bird sneaks into a war zone, you'll realize modern war isn't fought by machines. It's fought by monsters with wings. Sikorsky CH-53K King Stallion. In the world of military aviation, some machines are defined by their speed, others by their firepower. But the Sikorsky CH-53K King Stallion is defined by one thing above all else: raw, undeniable power. This helicopter is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the United States military. It is the largest and most powerful helicopter in the entire fleet, a true giant whose sole purpose is to accomplish missions that would be impossible for any other aircraft. The statistics behind the King Stallion command respect. It possesses the strength to lift an astonishing 35,000 pounds. To put that in perspective, imagine it flying away with a fully armed military truck, a small building's worth of supplies, or even another disabled helicopter dangling beneath it. Its cavernous interior can swallow large vehicles whole. When a mission requires moving something truly massive to a place with no roads, no ports, and no airstrip, the King Stallion is the only answer. But this helicopter is not just about brute force, it is a masterpiece of modern engineering. The K model is the latest and most advanced version, built with cutting-edge composites and powered by new, immensely powerful engines. This gives it the ability to operate in conditions that would stop other aircraft in their tracks, from the thin air of high mountain passes to the blistering heat of a desert. It is a machine refined for the toughest challenges the modern world can offer. This immense capability allows the King Stallion to perform some of the most unique and critical jobs. One of its most remarkable tasks involves clearing the way for the U.S. Navy. The helicopter can be fitted with a special device that lets it tow a massive mine-sweeping sled through the water. This means the King Stallion can fly ahead of naval vessels, safely detonating underwater mines and creating a secure path for the fleet. It is a stunning demonstration of its versatility, a giant of the air ensuring safety on the sea. For the Marine Corps, which operates this machine, the King Stallion is a strategic lifeline. It is the cornerstone of their ability to project power from the sea. From the deck of a naval ship, it can transport hundreds of Marines, along with all their essential vehicles and equipment, directly to the heart of a mission. It can perform critical rescue operations, retrieving other aircraft or personnel from deep behind enemy lines. The King Stallion achieved initial operating capability in 2023 and began equipping Marine Heavy Helicopter Squadron 641 in 2024, formally establishing this powerhouse on the front lines. AH-64 Apache. The Boeing AH-64. Apache is a purpose-built Predator. While the Huey's job was to carry and to save, the Apache's reason for being is far more direct: to hunt, to strike, and to survive. The Apache doesn't just fly, it slinks through the terrain. Its design is lean, angular, and aggressive. It's a heavy twin-engine machine built around a simple, terrifying idea: find the enemy and destroy them before they even know you're there. So how does it do that? Let's start with its teeth. The Apache is armed to the brim with some of the most fearsome weapons in the sky. Under its stubby wings, it can carry a mix of Hellfire missiles, which can obliterate a tank from miles away, and pods of Hydra rockets that can saturate an area with fire. But the most iconic weapon is the one mounted under its chin, the M230 30mm chain gun. This isn't just a machine gun, it's a cannon that fires heavy shells at a relentless pace. The sound it makes is deep, brutal, and spells the end for anything it's pointed at. But here's the remarkable part: how the Apache aims that powerful gun. Imagine you're the pilot. You're wearing a special helmet that's linked directly to the helicopter's computers. You see a tank hiding behind a grove of trees. All you have to do is look at it. You turn your head, spot the tank through your canopy, and a little symbol on your helmet display locks onto it. You then simply press a button on your control stick, and the chin turret below you swivels with a whir, pointing the massive gun exactly where you're looking. Your head is the gun. This system is called the Integrated Helmet and Display Sighting System, and it gives the pilot superhuman-like control, making the Apache an extension of their own will. Of course, going into harm's way means you have to be able to take a punch. The Apache is built like a flying tank. The entire cockpit is a bathtub of titanium armor, protecting the two-person crew from bullets and shrapnel. Its engines are designed to keep running even if they're hit. This helicopter is built to get into a brutal fight and make it back home. And it has. The Apache has flown over 5 million flight hours. To understand that scale, if one Apache flew continuously, it would take over 570 years to match the combat experience this fleet has accumulated. It's been the tip of the spear in conflicts from the Gulf War to the present day, proving itself time and again. It's the most proven, most numerous attack helicopter in the Western world because it gets the job done. It is a devastatingly efficient machine that dominates the ground from the sky. It doesn't just represent American power. It represents American precision and the unwavering will to protect the soldiers on the ground below it. The UH-60 Black Hawk. The Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk is the backbone of U.S. Army air mobility. Designed to replace the legendary Huey, it is bigger, faster, and tougher. It's powered by two robust engines and has a distinctive four-bladed rotor that gives it a powerful and steady presence in the air. Its real genius lies in its versatility. Need to rush a squad of a dozen soldiers to a hot landing zone? The Black Hawk is your ride. Need to sling a heavy artillery piece or a Humvee under the helicopter to a remote outpost? The Black Hawk can do that. Need to perform a daring medical evacuation under fire? The Black Hawk's cabin becomes a flying emergency room. The helicopter's legendary toughness was proven in Mogadishu in 1993. When two Black Hawks were shot down by RPGs, their crews survived the violent impacts because the airframe was designed to absorb crash forces. That engineering, which has since been incorporated into modern military helicopters, demonstrated a primary design goal: protect the crew at all costs. When you see a Black Hawk today, you're not just looking at a transport helicopter, you're looking at a proven warrior. It's the reliable taxi that gets troops to the fight, the flying ambulance that brings them back, and the resupply truck that keeps them going. For over 40 years, its familiar shape in the sky has meant one thing: help is here, the mission is on, and America's soldiers are in the best hands possible. Bell U-1 Iroquois Huey. When you think of the Vietnam War, a certain sound probably comes to mind. It's not the crack of a rifle or the blast of an explosion. It's a sound, a rhythmic, deep, and powerful beat. That is the sound of the Bell UH-1 Iroquois. But everyone, and I mean everyone, just calls it the Huey. The name Huey comes from its original designation, Hu-1, and it became far more than a name, it became a legend. So what exactly was the Huey? In simple terms, it was a utility helicopter, a flying truck. It had one engine and could carry 10 to 14 soldiers. But calling it just a truck doesn't do it justice. It was the backbone of the entire war effort. It was the school bus, dropping troops off right in the middle of the action. It was the delivery van bringing in crucial supplies like ammunition, food, and mail to guys in the jungle. And it was the taxi, coming back to pick everyone up when the job was done. And yes, it could be a gunship. You've seen the pictures. A Huey swooping in low with a door gunner leaning out, an M60 machine gun in his hands, pouring fire down on the enemy. That image is forever burned into our collective memory. It was a terrifying and powerful sight. But for all the fighting it did, the Huey's single most important, most heroic role was that of a flying ambulance. This is where it truly changed warfare forever. Before the Huey, if a soldier was badly wounded in a remote, swampy rice paddy or on a dense jungle hilltop, getting him help was slow and agonizing. It could take hours, even a full day, to carry him out on foot. Many men simply didn't have that kind of time. The Huey changed all that. It brought the hospital to the wounded. A call would go out over the radio, medevac, and a Huey, often unarmed and painted with a giant red cross, would race into the fight. It would hover, often under enemy fire, while medics loaded the critically wounded onto litters. Then it would leap into the sky and race to a field hospital miles away. A journey that once took days now took minutes. Because of the Huey, the survival rate for wounded soldiers in Vietnam skyrocketed to over 90%. Think about that number. For thousands of American families, that distinct whump 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 of the rotor wasn't the sound of war, it was the sound of hope. It was the sound of a son, a brother, or a husband coming home. It was more than a machine, it was a symbol. It represented American ingenuity, courage, and the desperate struggle to bring life out of a scene of death. Every modern helicopter that saves lives today, from medevacs to search and rescue, owes a debt to the original workhorse that proved it was possible. The Huey was the first of its kind, and in many ways, it's still the most important one ever built. Huey's MH-6 Little Bird. At 27 feet across, the MH-6 Little Bird's rotor is smaller than a typical classroom. That compact size is why America's most elite soldiers, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment Night Stalkers, use it for missions where larger helicopters simply cannot go. Its shape traces back to the Vietnam-era 06 Cayuse, that round egg-like body, but almost everything else has been improved. Under its smooth skin, you find modern engines, radios, and controls that make the Little Bird nimble, quiet, and able to do jobs larger helicopters cannot. Where a Black Hawk needs a clear patch, the Little Bird can slip into a courtyard, set down on a rooftop, or hover in a narrow alley. That small size lets crews deliver small teams right on top of an objective, then lift off again before the enemy knows what happened. The MH-6 uses a single turboshaft engine. It is not the most powerful machine, but the aircraft's lightweight and clean design give it good speed and a quick climb. The platform will cruise fast enough to reach distant targets and climb to high altitudes when needed. Yet it shines for short, sharp flights where finesse and speed matter more than carrying heavy loads. One of the MH-6's best features is flexibility. It can be fitted as a transport with side benches for troops or converted to an AH-6 light attack variant. By swapping benches for stub wings and weapon mounts, crews can add machine guns, rocket pods, and guided weapons. That means a single airframe can move soldiers one moment and provide fire support the next. The Night Stalkers specialize in night operations at extremely low altitudes, often just 50 feet off the ground, threading between obstacles that would be impossible for larger aircraft. They practice a kind of flying that requires extreme precision, weaving between trees and buildings, landing in tiny spaces, and using darkness to hide their approach. Thanks to night vision gear and careful planning, the MH-6 can move quietly and blend with shadows, making surprise a real weapon. Urban work shows the Little Bird's unique value. In a town, it can thread between buildings to reach a small rooftop, drop a team at a window, or perch on a narrow ledge. In wild terrain, it can set down on a ledge or a narrow clearing where no larger helicopter could land. Those are moments when bigger machines simply cannot help. Bell AH-1 Cobra. The AH-1 Cobra was the first helicopter designed from the ground up as an attack aircraft. Before 1967, armed helicopters were transports with guns added. The Cobra changed that. Built in the heat of the Vietnam War, it was conceived as a fast, slim, and deadly gunship that could protect soldiers and strike enemy positions with focused fire. Bell used parts from the famous Huey, its engine, transmission, and rotors, but wrapped them in a new, narrow body. The tandem cockpit, with the gunner seated in front and the pilot behind, reduced the helicopter's face and helped the crew see and aim together. That shape made the Cobra look different from other helicopters of the time. Lean, purposeful, and predatory. Small stub wings gave it places to mount rockets and guns so it could carry a mix of weapons depending on the mission. In Vietnam, the Cobra proved its value fast. It escorted troop-carrying helicopters into hot landing zones, brought down suppressive fire to keep soldiers safe, and hunted enemy teams found by scouts. Paired with light observation helicopters, the Cobra joined what soldiers called hunter-killer teams. Find the enemy, then hit them hard. Its speed and agility let it chase or strike quickly, and its concentrated weapons made it a feared sight in the sky. The early AH-1 models used machine guns and rocket pods, but the family evolved rapidly. Later versions received better engines, guided missiles, and improved sensors, so the Cobra could spot targets from farther away and make more precise attacks. That evolution kept it useful through decades of changing warfare, and many countries adapted the design for their own needs. The Cobra was not built to move troops or carry heavy loads. It was fragile compared with larger, more armored helicopters. Its light frame meant crews relied on speed, tactics, and support rather than armor to survive. In return, they gained a nimble gun platform that could operate at low levels and bring concentrated fire to hardpoints on the battlefield. Beyond combat performance, the AH-1 changed military thinking. The idea of a purpose-built attack helicopter led to further advances and to heavier attack types with more armor and bigger weapons. Still, the Cobra's simplicity proved hugely valuable. It was cheaper and lighter than heavier gunships, and it could be built in large numbers to meet urgent needs. Bell V-22 Osprey. The Bell V-22. Osprey is a machine that defies simple categories. It is not quite a helicopter and not quite an airplane. It is both, and that is its genius. The Osprey looks unique, with giant rotors on the end of each wing. But here is the magic. Those entire engine nacelles can rotate. They can swivel straight up or tilt forward or stop at any point in between. This is the tilt rotor concept, and it changes everything. When the engines are pointed straight up, the Osprey acts just like a helicopter. It can take off vertically, hover perfectly still, and land in a tiny clearing no bigger than a backyard. It can drop off troops or supplies without needing a runway. But once it is in the air and needs to get somewhere fast, the rotors tilt forward. They become massive propellers, pulling the Osprey through the sky like a powerful turboprop airplane. This transformation gives the Osprey a breathtaking advantage: speed. A traditional helicopter is relatively slow, plodding along at a couple hundred miles per hour. The Osprey can fly at nearly 350 miles per hour. That is nearly twice as fast. This means it can respond to crises, rescue people, or deliver forces over long distances in nearly half the time. The Osprey's development was long and challenging. Development faced serious setbacks, including fatal crashes during testing in the 1990s. The program persevered with design improvements and enhanced safety systems. Today, the Osprey has logged hundreds of thousands of flight hours across multiple services. That perseverance paid off, creating an aircraft that now fills a role no other can. This unique ability makes the Osprey incredibly versatile. It is the long-range taxi for Marine Corps troops, able to rush them from a ship far out at sea to a hotspot deep inland. For Special Operations Forces, it is the perfect insertion vehicle, combining the stealthy, pinpoint landing of a helicopter with the swift getaway speed of a plane. It even performs humanitarian missions, rushing aid to disaster zones where runways are damaged or non-existent. It bridges a critical gap, offering the strategic reach of an airplane with the tactical precision of a helicopter. While the Army has its Apache, the Marines have their own deadly hunter, the Bell AH-1Z Viper. Marines operate from ships in salt spray environments and need helicopters that can handle ship deck operations in rough seas. The Viper is specifically designed for naval operations where the Apache isn't optimized. This helicopter is not just a tool of war, it is a statement of purpose. It tells you that the Marines need something sharp, fast, and brutally efficient, capable of operating from the decks of ships and soaring over open ocean. The Viper is the evolution of a legend, taking the classic AH-1 Cobra and refining it into a 21st century predator. The family resemblance to the Cobra is clear. It has that same sleek, narrow body, a design that presents a small target to enemy gunners. But the Viper is a massive leap forward. The most obvious upgrade is its four-bladed rotor system, a world away from the Cobra's two blades. The four-blade rotor handles turbulent air coming off ship decks better than older two-blade designs, crucial for safe deck landings. This gives the Viper greater stability, more lift, and a significantly smoother ride, which is crucial for long, punishing flights over water. But the real deal is in its weapons and its senses. Under its wings are 6 hardpoints, which are like heavily reinforced shelves for carrying death. These can be loaded with a mix of powerful Hellfire missiles for tanks, pods of Hydra rockets for enemy positions, and even air-to-air missiles for threatening enemy aircraft. This versatility means the Viper can handle any threat that emerges on the battlefield. Its job is to provide precise air support for the Marines on the ground, to clear a path for other aircraft, and to dominate the space around it. Like the Apache, the Viper uses helmet-mounted targeting, but adds systems specifically for maritime operations. The Viper is built for the unique fight-from-the-sea reality of the Marine Corps. It operates from amphibious assault ships, which are like small mobile airports. From these floating bases, the Viper can project power inland, protecting troops during a beach landing or soaring ahead to scout the way. It is the guardian angel for Marine units, a wolf patrolling the skies above them. Its long range and advanced systems make it perfect for the vast, empty spaces of ocean and coastline where the Marines operate. So the AH-1Z Viper is more than just an attack helicopter. It is a symbol of evolution. It takes a proven, iconic design and sharpens it to a razor's edge. It represents the Marine Corps' ability to bring immense, focused firepower to any shore anywhere in the world. It is the sharpened fang of the fleet, ready to strike with devastating speed and perfect accuracy. Lockheed Martin Raider X. The Sikorsky Lockheed Raider X was designed to be the Army's next-generation scout helicopter, flying at speeds over 220 knots, nearly double a conventional helicopter's pace. It successfully demonstrated this capability in flight tests. Then, in February 2024, the Army canceled the entire program. This machine was not just an upgrade, it was a revolution in design. It looked different from anything else in the sky. Forget a main rotor and a tail rotor. The Raider X used something called a coaxial rotor system. This means it had 2 main rotors mounted one on top of the other, spinning in opposite directions. This ingenious design is its superpower. It makes the helicopter incredibly agile, able to dart and dodge with a speed that would be impossible for a traditional helicopter. It also gives it a much smaller footprint, allowing it to land in tight, cluttered spaces where a conventional helicopter would never fit. And then there is the speed. Imagine a helicopter flying at over 220 knots. That is nearly double the top speed of a conventional helicopter like a Black Hawk. This blistering pace was not for show. It was for survival. The idea was to use speed as a shield, to fly in, complete the mission, and get out before the enemy could even react. It was also built to operate in high and hot environments, the thin air of high mountains and the blistering heat of deserts where other aircraft struggle to perform. This was all part of the U.S. Army's Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft Program, or FARA. The goal was to create a new scout and attack helicopter, a sharp-eyed hunter that could find the enemy and strike with devastating force. The Raider X was armed for this fight, capable of carrying Hellfire missiles and a powerful 20mm cannon. The cancellation wasn't about the aircraft's performance. Raider X worked as designed. Instead, the Army reassessed whether scout helicopters fit future warfare needs and chose to invest elsewhere. But the coaxial rotor technology and high-speed capabilities proven by Raider X will likely appear in future designs. It was a flying laboratory, a proof of concept that pushed the boundaries of what is possible. That rigid coaxial rotor system, that incredible speed, that compact and agile airframe, these are not dead ideas. They are the seeds of the next generation of aircraft. The Raider X may never see active service as it was designed, but its legacy is secure. It served as a powerful reminder of American ingenuity and a bold look at a potential future for flight. It showed that the spirit of innovation is alive and well, constantly dreaming, building and testing the machines that might one day define the battlefield.